And now, back to the weather. And southern England is recovering tonight from some of the worst gales ever recorded. The police warned people this morning that they were taking their lives in their hands if they ventured out. And this is the M4 tonight on the outskirts of London. The hurricane-force winds have passed to the north and lost much of their severity. With most trains not running, the people who ignored the warnings to stay at home are making their way out of the capital. For many, it'll be a weekend of mending fences and clearing the debris. But for staff at the Royal Botanic Gardens at Kew, it'll take a lifetime to put things right. The storms uprooted and destroyed hundreds of rare trees.
They fell, the staff said, like a pack of dominoes. Oaks and poplars, walnuts and zelkovas, the world's most comprehensive collection of trees and plants, devastated in the worst night Kew has ever experienced. One botanist said it was like his own children had gone. The surgeons were sent in quickly to complete the job. One of nature's cruelest blows had damaged or destroyed well over 500 trees.
Really, many of us just couldn't believe it, and honestly, tears were in many people's eyes because it's lifetime's work devastated in just one night and covering the whole gardens.
Among the trees lost forever, this walnut planted by the Queen to commemorate the bicentenary of the 300-acre gardens, laid out by George III's mother, Princess Augusta. By afternoon, aluminium sheets were arriving to cover the gaping holes in the tropical plant house. For these men, it's a race against time. If temperatures drop below 65 for any length of time, £1 million worth of the world's most exotic plants will die. In the space of a few seconds, 200 years of history were blown over when this tree was uprooted. It's as old as the gardens themselves. In Kew, it could take 50 years to rectify the havoc of last night's gale.
Bill Hamilton, and that was the 6 o'clock news on Friday, the 16th of October, the day southern Britain was battered by the heaviest storms in living memory. They came in from the ocean in the early hours, bringing winds of hurricane force. They left a trail of destruction and at least 13 people dead. Tonight, the Home Secretary has called it the worst night of disaster in the southeast since the end of the war. From the 6 o'clock news, good night.
Good evening to you. Well, I must admit I felt like coming in disguise this evening. The storms were certainly more ferocious than I thought they would be. Perhaps I should have stuck to the farming forecast that we issued last Sunday, where we said it would be a very stormy period on Thursday night. But as time went by, of course, we thought the strongest of the winds would in fact go over northern parts of France. They did. They had winds there of 140 miles an hour, but that's no consolation to people that had their roofs ripped off and a lot of damage over many southern and eastern parts. At least we got some of the warnings out in time. The low, the one that caused all the terrible winds, has now moved well north. It's still giving some very strong winds over the northern part of the North Sea, up into western parts of Norway there. But the winds over the British Isles now are beginning to die down just a shade. There was a fair amount of rain mixed in that too. You can see still hanging over Scotland and moving further north. And over the next 24 hours, this is the rainfall picture, you can see that we're still going to have a fair number of showers pushing in across the country, particularly in the west and down in southern parts. And then later on tomorrow, some wet and windy weather will be coming back into the west, although I hasten to add the winds won't be as strong as they were last night. Anyway, that's what the winds are like just at the moment. Still some quite strong ones up in that northeastern part, but they will continue to die down just a shade. Pretty wet up in the far north at the moment, but then you'll find clearer weather working its way across Scotland. But at the same time, over England and Wales, although clear inland later on, a fair number of showers and some quite heavy ones on the western and particularly running up through the English Channel coasts. We've seen the winds already, and not a particularly cold night either. Tomorrow morning then, over many central and eastern parts, a dry start, a bright start with some sunshine, but in many coastal regions already showers right from the word go, and some heavy ones at that too. And I think there will be showers almost anywhere through the afternoon, but in the west they will be dying down a bit as cloudier weather pushes its way in. I think that'll be getting in and bringing some rather more persistent rain into these southwestern parts before the end of the afternoon. Temperatures tomorrow, well, they're going to be very much the same as they have been today, up to about 15 Celsius at the best. And as you can see, the wind's already beginning to freshen up again from the south in the southwest. That's it from me. Bye-bye.